Mr. Chairman, in the spirit of Carl Vinson, I want to just talk to the two witnesses today about the 19% cut to shipbuilding in this year's budget. A couple days ago, the Congressional Research Service looked at the department's submission of the budget. Mr. O'Rourke, who knows more about shipbuilding than anybody in this town combined, actually, in his understated way, eviscerated this request. In the department's submission this morning, it states that there are 8 ships, new ships, that are in their budget plan. Mr. O'Rourke actually determined that the LPD 31, which was listed, actually we funded and authorized last year. So there's actually only 7. 2 of those 7 are tugboats. They are salvage ships. We are not getting briefings in this committee about Russian tugboats or Chinese tugboats. We, in fact, then are left with really 5 combatant ships. Mr. Secretary, I've been on the Sea Power Committee for 14 years. You have to go back to the height of the surge, when the Navy shipbuilding was a bill payer, because we had 200,000 troops in a land war over in the Middle East, to see such an anemic shipbuilding request from the administration here today. And I would just say this is a punch in the gut to shipyard workers, the metal trades who are making life commitments to learn how to be welders and electricians and carpenters, to see this radical rudder turn in this year's budget in terms of shipbuilding. It is also a punch in the gut to the supply chain, who, again, we have been coaxing back into shipbuilding, again, after the lean years during the Iraq and Afghanistan war, to make investments in terms of capital and hiring. Again, they're going to be on the Hill next Monday, making the rounds here. BWXT from Ohio issued an earnings warning yesterday. They are the sole supplier of nuclear reactors for Navy ships because of that cut to the Virginia-class program. But lastly, it is a punch in the gut to the combatant commanders. Again, just in the last few days, we've had General Walters at European Command talk about a 50% increase in Russian submarine patrol operations. We've had Woody Lewis from the U.S. Second Fleet talking about the ever-increasing number of submarines. Admiral Davidson over in Indo-Pacific saying that his day-to-day submarine requirement is met by slightly only 50% of what I've asked for. So again, this budget fails the test in terms of a national defense strategy, which is focused on our near-peer competitors, because it is primarily an air and sea challenge when you're talking about Russia and China. And again, you don't recover from a cut like this anytime soon. Again, just for the record, we are 52 attack submarines today, with the retirement of Los Angeles-class submarines, which are going to accelerate over the next 4 or 5 years. That fleet is going to shrink to 44 subs. Your budget keeps us in that trough into the 2030s. And again, it just defies any analysis in terms of something that comports with a national defense strategy, again, based on the activities that we are seeing from China and Russia. Thank goodness that Admiral Gilday, in his unfunded budget priorities, number 1 on his list, which he submitted a couple days ago, is to restore that Virginia-class submarine so that we at least get out of this trough, which we are going to still be contending with throughout the 2020s, and we can get closer to the goal of a 355-ship Navy. And again, Mr. O'Rourke's report, which I would ask to be admitted to the record,
with no hearing, no
makes it crystal clear that projecting out over the next 5 years, it is a cut from the Obama projection in terms of fleet size, and also keeps us further away from trying to get to the goal of the 350-ship Navy. Mr. Secretary—
Can I respond, Mr.?
No, let me ask a question now, okay? Article 10, Section 231 of the U.S. Code says that when a budget comes over from the Department of Defense, it shall be accompanied by a 30-year shipbuilding plan. This is not sort of a feel-good law. It's because Congress needs headlights to see where you're going because of the fact that shipbuilding is such a long game. And again, it's not like helicopters or planes. When you cut, you don't get it back. Time is of the essence. Mr. Whitman and I sent a letter to your department on February 12th, asking for the 30-year shipbuilding plan, which again did not accompany the budget, and we have still not seen that 30-year shipbuilding plan today. When are we going to get that 30-year shipbuilding plan, which again is mandated by law?
I think I'm going to need more time, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You may have to take that for the record.
No,
Go ahead, take a shot.
It's a very good discussion. It's a very important discussion. So, Mr. Courtney, I haven't seen the 30-year shipbuilding plan. I'm awaiting its presentation to me. It's my report. Once I've had a chance to review it and digest it and follow up on it, at the appropriate point in time, I will share with you what I believe our future force structure should look like. With regard to the first point you made, I will say this much. I think it's a very important issue. I'm a big believer in attack submarines. I actually believe, my gut tells me we need more than what we've planned for, number one. But there are two competing pressures we have right now. A top-line budget, which actually gives us 2% less buying power. But the second thing, and importantly, is I support what the Navy did in terms of moving $4 billion, nearly $4 billion, from shipbuilding to maintenance. The concern that the CNO has, that the acting secretary has, that I have, is that we have a hollow Navy. Why do I know that? GAO report dated December of last year said this much. Over the last 5 years, 75% of our surface ships never left maintenance on time. Of that 75%, half of those ships took over 3 months to get to sea. And what does that account for? That means...
And I know this is really important, but the other members are going to kill me.
Okay,
so,
but just last point. What that equates to is 19 ships in 2019 unavailable to go to sea. We cannot have a hollow Navy. I agree we need to build a 355-plus ship Navy, but we can't have a hollow Navy at the same time.
Thank you.